Welcome to another episode of Chat Sports Talk. And welcome to week 6 of the 2023 NFL season. That's right, we're up to week 6 already. We got 5 weeks already in the book. Pretty much everyone's played 4 games already. Good chunk of the season's already in the books. And we'll kind of see who is going to rise to the top, who's going to fall to the bottom. And there's quite a few teams that are in there, and quite a few teams you expect to be in certain positions. Once again, need to apologize for not producing my week 5 recap video where I went over my last week's predictions, and I had a horrible week. And I'm going 7-7 last week. A lot of games should went one way. Teams decided not to show up, like the Monday night game. The Packers should have won that game, but inexperience of Love and his receivers led to that downfall. Picked a couple upsets, didn't quite happen. So hey, it is what it is, and this is where we're sitting at. So 7-7, 500, not bad. Not my worst week thus far, but we're still early in the season. So we'll go into week 6. We still got a game in London. We also have 2 teams off this week. So once again, this uneven bye week fiasco that NFL does. Let's see how we kind of go there. And let's go ahead and kick off with Thursday night's action over there in Arrowhead, where the Chiefs play host to division rival Broncos. And the Broncos is just which version is going to show up. Is the version that came back from behind and beat Chicago 2 weeks ago? Or is it one that just collapsed last week with the Jets in town? You see that Russ Wilson and Sean Payton are not seeing eye to eye and been jawing at each other on the sideline. So I don't know how much longer this relationship is going to continue. Receivers are just there. The defense is just horrible right now. So it's one of the better defenses in the league, and Chicago looks better than they do. So, and then you look at Kansas City side. There's a possibility that Kelsey could not play because if you watch his game in Minnesota, he kind of twist his ankle, knee, just catch the ball, make it a turn. Next thing you know, he was on the ground and limping around. I don't think it was his ankle, by the way. So you have that action going on, but regardless of Kelsey playing or not, right now Kansas City's favored by 10.5. Once again, you have to look who's going to show up. You notice that when Detroit came to town, no one showed up. Now they had a few games under their belt. Now everyone's kind of gotten the rhythm and whatnot. So I think you'll probably find that go-to receiver later on. Pacquiao's proven to be a very reliable running back for the Chiefs. They're favored by, like I said, favored by 10.5. I think that's generous, given the situation in Denver. I think Denver will make this close because it is a highly contested divisional game. I think these are the 2 founding members of the AFL, so they have a lot of hatred for each other. Denver will make this closer than what I think some people really want. But I think Kansas City is going to be able to hold off and win in the end. And I think probably by 6.5. I'll go with the Chiefs. Then Sunday, we head over to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium once again. This time the Titans are hosting the Ravens, and the Ravens are just one of these teams that's last week I predicted the win in Pittsburgh, and their offense just sputtered. Receivers weren't catching the ball, or Lamar Jackson was throwing it in their feet. It was just a bad showing by that Baltimore's offense all around. Now, note, there's been injuries that's been affecting Baltimore, which tends to be a recurring theme for this team. So maybe they work on their conditioning a bit or something along those lines. Pittsburgh offense has been big, and their defense has been pretty much the saving point. They bring the Titans, another team that you kind of you want to root for, but then they just aren't shooting themselves in the foot. Derrick Henry should have a lot more yards than 328 yards. A lot more, and he does not have that. He's still, a focal point of that offense. You still have Tannehill, who's a decent quarterback himself. DeAndre Hopkins is his primary, but he only has 356 yards, no touchdown catches. So what right there in the Tennessee offense really makes you go, hey, these are the guys. But same thing, if you look at Baltimore with Lamar Jackson, who else do you have besides Lamar? You have Trey Flowers. That's it. This is going to be a ugly contest, to say the least. Tannehill and Lamar are probably going to end up throwing a few picks themselves because right now Tannehill has more interceptions than touchdowns. Baltimore's favored by 4. I think it'll be closer. I think it'll be a 3-point affair, but I'm still going with the Ravens to win. Actually, no. I picked Tennessee to win because they looked really good last week against the Colts. They just couldn't get it done, and Baltimore just looks in shambles. And I think Baltimore probably ended up losing this game. I want to go Baltimore, and that's why I initially said it, but I don't think they're quite there. I think losing this game will actually, set the seat on fire they're sitting on, and maybe they'll actually stand up and do something. So we had a hot Atlanta where the Falcons play hosted the Commanders. Commanders last week got blasted by Chicago right out the gates. Atlanta once again had another comfort behind victory this season. They did it earlier in the season against Green Bay. They did it last week against Houston. So the Falcons is a very tenacious team. Find themselves in the mix. Right now, I kind of believe more in the Falcons' offense than I do the Commanders. Commanders' defense, I kind of favor a little bit more than I do Atlanta's. But looking what they did against Chicago, I'm leaning more towards Atlanta again. So that defense is kind of like the iffy point for the Commanders. Atlanta right now is favored by 2.5. I like that. I think it's going to be another close call, another field goal, and I'll give it to Atlanta. Well, next off, we head out to the Windy City where Chicago is playing host to Minnesota. And Chicago finally got that monkey off their back last week after taking them to the Commanders last Thursday night. They're not out of the woods yet. They still got a little monkey poo right there, so the monkey could come back. There's definitely some issues of it, but you've seen a big improvement with Chicago once they benched Claypool. The offense started clicking somehow. Claypool wasn't really a major factor in that. But then they traded Claypool to Miami. Let's see if Miami can deal with his antics. And then the fact that Chicago picked him up anyways, even though he's a talented guy, but his mindset, I don't know. But then, once that happened, that's when Chicago's offense started performing. The defense led up. It ended that Denver game, but the Washington game, all facets of this team was actually firing all cylinders. Let's see if they continue that. Minnesota, by the way, Jefferson, more likely gone for the season. They're hoping he can return. He's been pretty much the only highlight for that Minnesota's offense. Kirk Cousins, almost 1,500 yards passing, 13 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He's been doing everything he possibly can to maintain. Minnesota keeps going, but the Madison's not really the running back they really thought he's going to be. Akers has kind of filled in a little bit here and there. But can Chicago's defense stepped up and control Minnesota? That's going to be a key factor. And can Justin Fields repeat what he did last week and maintain his composure and win? I mean, he still can't seem to play a whole game. There's always a quarter where he just fumbles. His mindset's not quite there. The offense struggles. They do it in the beginning of the game, and they're pretty much toast for the rest of the game. But we'll see how this one kind of plays out. But I'm a glutton for punishment. I'm thinking Chicago. There's too many question marks with Minnesota. There's already trade rumors about Cousins. Even though Cousins said he has a no trade clause, he said he's not even worth his time to discuss it. I think he's more worried about trying to get this team winning again. But I don't know. It's interesting to see how these two franchises kind of play out the rest of the season. I think Chicago's trying, focus more on Fields, try to see what they can do to help him better on an increased offensive line, get defensive players that actually can stop. That should be good. Then we head to the jungles of Cincinnati where the Bengals play host to the Seahawks. Now, last week I called for the Bengals to kind of dry up in Arizona and the Cardinals becoming vultures and picking apart the carcass, basically. Cincinnati showed up. It was a Joe Burrow, Jamal Chase show out there in Glendale. And nothing is really deterring from the fact that it could be another showing of these two highlights guys to reemerge as the bromance continues on Sunday. Then you have Geno Smith and his bromance with Metcalf and all the receivers he has out there in Seattle. That's defense is looking really, really good as well. And Seattle is slightly better than Arizona. So can Seattle's defense get to Burrow quicker enough to maybe strain his calf? Can Burrow get to Jamar Chase or find someone else we can throw to? Maybe mix it up a bit in the running attack. There's a lot of good avenues to kind of look at both these teams right now. Cincinnati's favored by 2.5. I'm going to take Seattle. I'm uncertain about this one. But I don't know. I think it's just one of these games that I think that Seattle could top Cincinnati because of defense. But I don't want to take anything away from Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase has going right now in Cincinnati. It is going to be close. There's no doubt about that. But I will take Cincinnati to edge out the Bengals. Excuse me, I'll take Seattle to edge out the Bengals. Cincinnati is the Bengals. All right, then we head to Cleveland, where they play host to the red-hot, undefeated 49ers. And I think my pick for the MVP or the MVP race is Christian McCaffrey. Because I think without McCaffrey, there won't be much here. I think Kirk Cousins probably deserves one as well. He plays for a really bad team right now, but look at his stats. Brock Purdy, I think, has emerged as a dark horse for the MVP. Mr. Irrelevant to becoming the MVP the following season. That'd be pretty historic. Because right now, Purdy, over 1,200 yards, 9 touchdowns. McCaffrey, 510 yards rushing, 7 touchdowns. He also could catch and ball as well and score. You still got Ayuk. You still got Deebo Samuels. You still got George Kittle. There's so many weapons on the offense. The defense is stout. Cleveland is no slouch either. However, they can never seem to put all those pieces together to work the right configuration. That works good for one game, but then they just try to go, hey, let's repeat what they did. And they can't seem to do that. Deshaun Watson will probably find himself being chased around a bit. Bosa is going to try to continue to get some more sacks. He only has one this season. So find that. I think Myles Garrett's going to disrupt Brock Purdy quite a bit. So see how they kind of handle Myles Garrett as well. Right now, San Francisco's favored by 7. I think this will be closer than 7. I think Cleveland will make this a game. At least I'm hoping they are. But I will go with the 49ers to win at the lake and continue this miraculous run they got going. In the winless Carolina Panthers head down to South Beach, take on the Dolphins. And there's not much to really talk about this one. I think Miami is just going to make this a track meet once again. I don't think Carolina's going to offer much resistance. It's 13.5 right now for Miami. Miami can call it a full 14-point advantage, but I think Miami should be able to withstand any attempt Carolina's going to put out. Right now, there's nothing in Carolina that really looks like they're going to be a good team. Bryce Young still trying to find his rhythm with that offense. So we'll see how this one plays out. But Miami's just too many weapons. And Tua Tagovailoa is going to ensure that he schools his alma mater buddy Bryce Young. Then we head over to Jacksonville, where a AFC South showdown between the Jags and the Colts. The Colts right now 3-2. I think to a lot of people surprised as far this season how well they're actually doing. Jefferson is a very good quarterback. I have questions about him coming out because he only had one full year. Because it reminds me of another quarterback who had one full year and he got drafted pretty high, and that's Trubinsky. Right now he's a backup from Pittsburgh. And there's question marks about the running game because Taylor wasn't there because of contracts. Now Moss is doing quite well for himself, pretty much being a highlight for that Colts offensive line. The defensive guys showed up in places. And then you have the Jaguars, who are 3-2. Who I think some people might have thought would be a little bit better. They had a miraculous win last week in London against the Bills. So taking out that top team. So they got a lot of momentum going in their direction. With this being a key rivalry game between these two, I think the Colts will make this close. Right now, the line is 4 in favor of the Jags. I'll probably go lower, so probably go about 3.5. But I do think the Jags are even 3, because I will go with the Jags on this one. I think they want to come home and defend their den, because right now they're 1-2 at home, so they got to try to rectify that situation. Colts are undefeated right now on the road, so you need to spoil that mark for them. But I think the Jags will end up winning. We head over to H-Town where the Saints come to town, and the Saints just win these very unique teams. Derek Carr coming over has been probably a good blessing in disguise for this franchise. And how they handled New England last week was, I didn't think it was going to happen. Because I picked New England last week against the Saints, and they shut out the Patriots. So I give credit to where credit's due. That defense is looking pretty good. The offense is nice and consistent. And you look at Houston, C.J. Stroud. It's probably put up numbers for Rookie of the Year, because offensive Rookie of the Year. Over 1,400 yards passing, 7 touchdowns, 0 picks. On a team that no one thought they'd be 2-3 right now, because of past happenings of this franchise and how disemboggled, disoriented, degenerate the franchise became. But they seem to have now the right coach to build that persona, the right leadership on top to get this program back to where it was when it first started, where they were in the playoff hunt for quite a while. So I kind of like where this one's going. Right now, Saints are favored by 1.5. I can dig it. I think the Texans will make this close. I think you got to give them credit's due. That's why the line's really close. I don't like that. The Saints hasn't really proven to be a true threat. Given a team of good caliber, they do kind of struggle a bit. But I think the Saints will end up prevailing in Houston, but it will be close. Then we head out to Vegas, and they get to host the Patriots. Bill Belichick gets to take on his former OC and backup quarterback. This should be entertaining. You know, who's better, the master, the teacher, or the student? Jimmy G will make you scratch your head a lot of times with some of his throws, but same with Mac Jones. His offense has yet to really find any rhythm whatsoever. And he does have 1,000 yards passing, but he has 6 picks, his 5 interceptions. But he's on his 3rd OC in his young career. I mean, his best years with Josh McDaniels. And then he had that defensive-minded special teams guy running the offense, which totally messed things up. And now you get someone else in charge. It's a show right now for New England. And I don't know, maybe Belichick can find a way to stay there so we can beat Shula's all-time win record, but I don't know. Maybe he has to get rid of his GM role because this team is not in the direction it needs to be. It was proven once Brady left that this team was a shell of its former self. And the Raiders, they're just another one of those head scratchers as well. Devontae Adams looked like he'd be out. Josh Jacobs is not really living up to the hype. The defense is not there as well. I mean, there's just so many question marks with the Raiders as well as the Patriots. So this is going to be an interesting game. Las Vegas favored by 3. Sure, I'm going Vegas as well. I think it's going to be one of those weird games, but we'll have to see when they actually kick it off. We went out to L.A. where the Rams play host to the Cardinals. And the Cardinals had a huge letdown last week against Cincinnati. After, a couple weeks removed from beating Dallas, they've yet to really go back to that game plan that made it work. Go down and take on the Rams team that's still kind of struggling themselves. Stafford throws the same amount of picks he does touchdowns. But he does have over 1,400 yards passing. He does have some very unique name receivers that no one ever heard of, but they seem to find ways to make it work. And Williams has been a bright spot for that running attack for him. I think Arizona will make this game right now is a 7-point spread for the Rams because they look at what the Cardinals did the past 2 weeks against the 49ers and the Bengals. And the Rams offense, a lot of times, are similar to those. They're a few steps below them. And with that front line, the Rams, it's going to be difficult for the Cardinals to really get much anything going. So we'll see how that one pans out. I would say it's going to be closer than 7. I wouldn't surprise if Arizona went in there and shocked the Rams. But I will take the Rams in this one, but I think it will be closer than 7. I'll probably go with a 3 or 4 point spread at that point. Then the Eagles would take on the Jets over there at MetLife. Now, last week I called for the Eagles to lose against the Rams. Obviously, that didn't happen. The Jets had no problems flying in the high altitudes of Denver. Now they head back home and take on Jalen Hurts and all that. Jets defense is going to be tested a lot. Zach Wilson is going to find out that why his Jets defense is not to be overrated. Jalen Hurts is another one of these early season MVP candidates. But he does have 4 picks, but Swift has been kind of a very bright spot there. Over 400 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. So I think you get more of the running attack going to really help Jalen Hurts find, Brown and to kind of continue that, cement that relationship. Right now, Phil's favored by 7. I like that as well. I'm going to Eagles as well. I'll take the 7 as well. We head down to Tampa, where the Detroit Lions are coming to town to take on the Buccaneers. And Buccaneers are willing to quietly kind of create that nice little team right now. They're 3-1, coming off their bye. Detroit's got momentum going right now, and so it's a matter of time for that momentum to end. And right now, the line has the Lions up by 3.5, led by Jared Goff, over 1,200 yards passing, a nice, even kilter type of offense with 9 touchdowns, but does have 3 picks. Montgomery, been a good running back for him, 371 yards, 6 touchdowns. The defense is young and hungry, and it makes some wonderful plays as well. Definitely get Baker Mayfield more than he can handle. Baker does seem to struggle with teams, defensive lines that like to rush the quarterback. But having Mike Evans as one of your primary receivers does kind of help. But Detroit does have some good secondary players. But like I said, it's a matter of time for Detroit to have that letdown game, kind of go, well, here's Detroit we know and loathe. I think it's going to be here. I think Tampa Bay is going to find a way to edge out Detroit. Tampa Bay has a good defense as well. They have some offensive weapons. Baker, he's a competent quarterback. He is. I mean, despite how he is, but he does seem to every so often come up and play. And he might actually do this here, having a week off, get well rested. I think Tampa Bay will come off of that bye week and have a nice home win. They have the Battle of New York out there in Orchard Park where the Giants come to town and take on the Bills. The Bills have to lick their wounds from their London excursion, coming up short against the Jaguars. The Giants looked like the little Giants when they took on the Dolphins. Of course, everyone kind of knew that was going to happen because of how Miami was handled by the Bills earlier. So they were looking to get their revenge, and the Giants were the easy target. Daniel Jones, I don't think he's the right fit. The offense is off kilter. The magic's gone right now. I foresaw the Giants having a very terrible season just because of their schedule. Taking on Buffalo. Buffalo right now is favored by 14. I'm going to pump the brakes a little bit on that one. I'll go as high as 10. But but Bills definitely got to work out some kinks after that Jacksonville loss. And once again, I think taking on the Giants is going to be that key factor, and they're winning this game by 10 points. Then Monday night, Justin Herbert and the Chargers will play host to Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. the Cowboys once again playing out in California got embarrassed by the 49ers. There was nothing that went right for Dallas at all. Timing was off. Bad passes. The defensive line was always in the backfield. Couldn't get the run game going, and San Francisco was able to dictate the pace of this game. The Chargers, not quite as proficient on the defensive line. Also he had to deal with another Bosa brother. He had to also deal with Khalil Mack. Justin Herbert's another reliable quarterback. He's going to have Kellen Allen as one of his prime receivers as well. So we'll kind of see how this game plays out. Right now, Dallas is favored by 2. I battled back and forth with this one. I could not determine which way to go. I think Dallas is going to try to look a way to kind of rebound from their fiasco from last week in Santa Clara, rebound in L.A. Chargers, one of these teams that always lets you down when you think they're going to win. They always lose. This is one of these teams that I think that they can win this game against Dallas. If they win this game against Dallas, it's going to be a huge feather in their cap and really help them propel them for the rest of the season. In this matter, I think Dallas needs this win. Otherwise, you're going to start scratching your head by McCarthy. The lack of having an OC. This is also the Kellen Moore revenge game as well, since Kellen Moore was once the OC for Dallas. Now he's the OC for the Chargers. And we saw what happened when he had an ex-head coach take on his former team when the Denver Jets, and especially that Sean Payton made those comments about Hackett, and the team rallied around Hackett, and that's why I think the Jets won that one. You don't see the animosity here between Kellen Moore and McCarthy, so there's not going to be that bad blood between them. I want to go with the Chargers right now because Dallas favored by 2. Like I said, I want to go with LA. I just can't. There's something about them that's just they're not consistent enough, and I think that's part of the issue. They're not consistent enough. Justin Herbert is a great quarterback. He's just not doing much of anything. Much like Dak Prescott, not a great quarterback, not doing much of anything. I'll take the Cowboys. I think it will be close. I'll take the 2 points. But once again, this is one of these games I'm definitely not confident in, like that Seattle-Cincinnati game. Not confident in. I wouldn't be surprised if the Chargers win this one. I kind of laugh if they ended up winning this one. I really would. Like Stephen A. Smith, I'd just be laughing. Just not without a cowboy hat and cigar hanging out of my mouth. And that's it. Those are the games. Green Bay and Pittsburgh are actually off this week, so they get to sit back and watch everyone play. Pittsburgh definitely kind of need this a little rest, kind of help retool, revamp that offense, hopefully. Try to find out what's working with the Steel City offense. And Green Bay needs to find some ways that make sure Love, can blossom in that offense. But it's a very young offense to Green Bay as well. I think, the receiving core is either a second-year rookie, and you have a quarterback, it's like third year, fourth year in the league, but it's his first full season as starting, first full year playing. So it's definitely going to be some growing pains there. So he's actually playing like a rookie, even though he's been in the league for a little bit. But anyways, we'll see how that one plays out. Hey, let me know down below which game do you think I got completely wrong. Like I said, I'm not confident in that Seattle pick over Cincinnati. And I'm definitely not confident about Dallas win over the Chargers. There's definitely a few games in here that can go either way just because how in a given Sunday, you never know who's going to show up, who's going to step up, who's going to get hurt prior to those weekend games, who's going to get hurt during those games that could change the entire landscape of the game completely. That's why you play these games. That's why it's fun to watch these guys go at it, and just enjoy watching the football. Like I said, let me know down below what you think. Hit that thumbs up. It really pleases YouTube guys. It really helps the algorithm out to help promote this video. You also subscribe. Over 9% of you guys are not subscribed. It doesn't cost you anything. Hit that subscribe button. Click the bell icon. Turn notifications. So next time I post any more content on my channel. And I'll see you next time. Chat Sports Talk.